You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
This is episode 130 of Retired Racehorse Radio on the Horse Radio Network, part of Equine Network, brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products, Cashel Company, and Equestrian Plus. Retired Racehorse Radio is your guide to the adoption, care, and training of the retired racehorse. Brought to you in cooperation with the Retired Racehorse Project and New Vocation's Racehorse Adoption Program.
On today's show, we get a lesson in standardbred breeding from Dr. Cory Kieschnick, Professor and Chair of Equine Science and Management at Delaware Valley University. We get a training tip from New Vocation's own Amanda Vance and introduce you to our adoptable horse of the week. Stay tuned.
And they're off on Retired Racehorse Radio, the podcast that is your guide to the adoption, care, and training of the retired racehorse.
This is Joy. We're in Detroit, Michigan.
And this is Kristen Kovach-Bentley in Jamestown, New York, and you're listening to Retired Racehorse Radio.
Kristen, I feel like listeners don't know because we always stay on the schedule, but we do pre-record these. So our weeks aren't always the same. It has been a minute. We kind of got a nice little break, a quick little extra week in between recordings. And I missed you. How have you been?
I missed you too. I went on vacation. It was weird.
That is a weird thing for a horse girl.
I know. It's just like, especially like, you know, I don't want to say like, oh, people who board have it so easy, because that's not true either. But like,
no.
When you keep your horses yourself, it's way harder to get away. Like, you have to organize the horse sitter and then the house sitter. And then like, you know, in my line of work and communications, I have to like pre-write all of my communications a few days in advance. So it's, you know, it is almost as much work to go.
You don't just have the horses either. You have your dogs, you have the cows. Like there's a lot going on over there.
There's a lot of moving parts. We're still not done calving somehow. I have to have a word with last year's bull because it's always the man. Sorry to our male listeners. I shouldn't say that. But like
in this situation, it's always
in this situation, it was clearly him. Something was amiss. It's fine, but we have 6 left that we're waiting on. So of course we're like, if we leave, they're going to calve and then we're going to hear about it that we weren't there, but you know, it was fine. So we got away to Kentucky, like a week or 2 late to catch you in Kentucky. But
I know, ironic, but also very fun. And you got to take your guy with you.
I did. Yeah.
Eric.
And I met a friend that I first made through the makeover, because makeover friends are the best friends, as the hashtag goes. And she brought her man. So we had a nice little like couples weekend, and we went very under the radar. So I don't want to hear it from Chris that I didn't stop by to visit him, because I kept it real on the DL so I could make it not a work trip. So yeah, we didn't do anything horsey until the last day. So
yeah, and you went to WinStar, right?
We did. Yeah, which I've been to WinStar for stallion open houses, but I'd never done like the stallion tour. So it was nice to get a little more, you know, behind the scenes and like hear the tour and all that. And then I didn't really think about this at the time, but I was like, oh, well, like Shorty's one of only 2 of Shorty's like living relatives that we know of is at WinStar. So he's a grandson of Distorted Humor. So and Distorted,
fun.
So Distorted Humor is pensioned, but he still has like pride of place, like the first stall, you know, in the aisle right next to the center of the barn, you know, and they still stop by with tours and everything. I think they said he was 31 or 32. He looks amazing for his age.
That's awesome.
So, you know, Eric, I have a picture of Eric taking a picture of him, because I was like, oh, this is really cool, you know, because Eric was like walking over like, hey, buddy, you know, like, I don't know if Eric was also maybe showing him like, here's your grandson, you know, here's what Shorty's doing. But yeah, that would have been very sweet. But yeah, Distorted Humor was not super interested until he thought maybe Eric had a mint. And then he was like, hey, and came over to the stall. And the groom fed him a bunch of mints. So he's very well cared for in his old age. So it was very sweet. So yeah, saw some just, you know, nice horses, nicely cared for horses, sires of future horses I would like to own, you know. So it was it's a nice little tour. So, and then just driving around was fun. Yeah. Oh yeah. I would definitely recommend WinStar, because it's just, everything is just so nicely presented there. So
yeah. Well, and for listeners who might not have listened to everything yet or are new, we actually did interview WinStar episode 96.
Oh, we did. on how
You
they
can hear-
manage.
Yes, it's very
Like,
cool.
Hundreds of horses, thousands of acres, and like how they keep all the wheels spinning because they have so many aspects to their program. Like they're not just standing stallions, but they're breeding their own, they're consigning, they're racing. Like it is every part of the thoroughbred industry. So
I do like on both of our lives parallel on so many ways that it's creepy sometimes. Like
Bestie.
where vet appointments align, farrier appointments align, like literally everything we're doing. Like I think we're actually secret sisters, but it's fine.
That would make sense. Yeah.
It would make sense.
That tracks.
But we also did on our last day a farm tour as well. But we went to Castleton Lions, which was also stunning. It's more of a mare and foal farm versus having stallions there. So for me being the mare person I am, like it was super fun to see and each foal's personality, and also just the property itself was stunning. Like that's the part that I couldn't handle as we're going through it. I'm like, is this Bridgerton? Like, doesn't make any sense.
Oh yeah, it makes you like go home and you're like, everything is so shabby here. Like I try.
Zach was honestly the moment we got to Ohio as we're driving back, instant change in personality. He's like, I don't want to go home.
Oh, it's like truly a fairyland. Like if you're listening to this and you're a thoroughbred lover and you've not been on a Kentucky stud farm tour, like you've got to put it on your list because it is truly another world. At some of it, you're like, this is ridiculous. But like everything at Wynn, like just walking down the aisle, I was like, okay, like our horses hate being stabled, but if they could have a barn like this with like, I don't know, like a 16 by 16 stall with this much of a breeze running through, like they'd be like, absolutely leave me in here. This is 100%. Amazing.
So if anyone has like connections to visit Lexington or like Horse and Country, we are looking to help you because we're here to advocate. We're doing free ads right now of how great this
they're
place
not a
is.
Sponsor. We're just saying, just go get
We're
a
just
tour.
saying it because we
amazing.
love it, but we would love them to sponsor.
Yeah. So if you're listening, Horse Country, please hit us up.
Please hit us up.
We want to chat. So.
You're on our fantasy list.
I will say the funny thing is that we're driving in because we stayed at an Airbnb, well, Verbo, actually, if we're getting our spots right here. Verbo, please call us. We stayed at a Verbo like way outside of like, you know, the horse belt.
Mm-hmm.
So we were driving in and we were going past like a random like boarding barn. And Eric was like, oh, is this the farm we're going to? And I was like, oh, no, babe, we're going to WinStar. Like, you don't even know yet, you know? So we like drive in past the gatehouse, you know, and he was like, oh, I was like, oh yeah, like there's a security guard at the road, like that level of farm. You know, it was endearing that, you know, some random boarding bar. Oh, is this where we're going? I was like, oh, you don't even know.
I know. Zach was kind of saying, he's like, look at this barn, look at that barn. I was like, yes, it is.
Yep,
there's a
great.
Weirdly like charming, magical place that I can't fathom.
Yeah, it is Disneyland for horse people. So
yes, it really is. Really is.
What have you been up to while I was, you know, faffing around Kentucky? What have
Honestly,
you been doing?
I've just been enjoying having a very chill summer. It's so nice to not feel pressure about shows or training. So I kind of went back to basics with Astrid because riding has been interesting.
Oh,
like bringing her back after 6 months. I'm actually really excited about our training tip because it's everything I needed to hear. She's just doesn't quite know where her legs are these days. And we have muscles built in places they shouldn't be built just due to compensation with her neck injury, which is fine. She was off for about 6 months. So it is what it is. But I actually went back to core strengthening exercises and it's been really fun to put her through it. And I forgot how, I don't want to say mind numbing it can be for them, but like by the end of every session, they're only like 20 to 30 minutes. She just was like, her head's on my leg. Like, I've had enough, but this was good.
Done.
Like she's super mellow after, like you can tell she feels good in her body.
Oh.
And it just chills her out. Because when we first get started, she's a bit anxious, not naughty or anything, but you can just tell like she's anticipating something to be uncomfortable. And
interesting.
The fact we've like slowed down, I've been doing like a lot of long lining or doing stuff with the walk, a lot of long rein, a lot of circles, and just asking her to really bend and step under herself. And then by the end of those 20 to 30 minutes, she's just like totally woosad. Like she just goes to sleep immediately. And I was like, I'm so glad you feel good about this.
Oh, I love that. You're gonna have to send me like a list, like a not a list, you know, but like
I'm
send me kind of a sample workout.
Okay, I got my first started working with her, and it actually breaks out different like plans based on whatever your horse is struggling with. And it also is for different levels. So like she's at the very, like the lowest core level because there's nothing, but it actually has have a competition horse that's, especially in like the dressage space where suppleness starts to show lacking. If as you go those upper levels, these will probably be good for you to do. So I'm actually having all my students start doing it too as they're trying to progress their first level test and their second level test.
Oh, it's not 55 corrective exercises for horses, right? Because I have that sitting right next to me right now. And I was like, that has like a similar kind of like plan for like, if you have XYZ problem, consider this progression of exercises. And I was like, oh, that's really cool.
So not sponsored, but core conditioning for horses. You can get it on Amazon. And it's yoga inspired and actually made me want to take a Pilates class after. And I also felt very good in Busad after my Pilates class. I don't really like the mind frame for yoga. It's a little slow for me. So it was like the nice in between, but it gave me a chance to kind of feel probably what she should be feeling. Like I felt taller. I felt a little more supple myself, opposed to like feeling tired from, if I go running or do weights and I might feel a little stiff or sore. I actually felt like my muscles were more loose and refreshed, which was nice. And I'm imagining that's probably what this feels like for her too, because it's very similar.
I like it. All right, maybe this winter we should do a book swap when I finish with 55 corrective exercises.
Oh, I think that'd be fun.
We'll trade that around.
Super fun. And I'll try to put some content
that'd be fun
on the Instagram for everyone of at least some of the exercises I'm doing that she seems to like the most. But yeah, I had all my students do it too. And each of their horses, I had them all do the same exercises and each horse needed something different out of it. And it just really shows how unique horses are. I found that very intriguing. So
yeah, for sure.
This is my new experiment right now to see how this works for everybody.
No, it's good. Well, and especially like in the winter when I'm constantly like trying to find new ways to reinvent the wheel because I can't do anything, not having an arena. Like I need to build a bigger repertoire of exercises and, ground activities in particular.
And so much of this you can do in literally half a small dressage arena size.
Perfect.
You don't need a lot of space. It's really just teaching them how to use their body and work sides, like their dominant side versus their non-dominant side. It's been really cool to go back to this because I haven't touched it since I got her in 2017. So we're going back to basics and it's really nice.
I like that. I hate that I'm already thinking about my winter plan. No, we're going to enjoy our chill girl summer. I know I'm showing, but like it's a very chill approach to showing that we're taking this year. Like we're just there to have a good time. So chill girl summer. We're doing it.
That's the vibe. It's the vibe. But speaking of, we actually have a very chill episode and I'm so excited for it. We have a very cool interview with Dr. Cory Kieschnick of Equine Science and Management at Delaware Valley University, which, can you tell me the nickname for it again? I am not a local.
Oh, DelVal.
DelVal.
Because I'm from the southeastern PA where DelVal is based. And we were always like, oh yeah, DelVal. Like, and it didn't occur to me until I was talking with our guests. I was like, yeah, I guess people don't know.
I know. I'm not that hip. I'm clearly not a local, but I am so excited to be a poser in the conversation. And listeners, we've already got to do it. So we know what we're chatting about, but you're going to really like it. We promise. Normally we have Making the Makeover. Our Dana was supposed to join us. It seems like something has come up on her end. So we won't have that this week, but stay tuned for next episode. We'll be catching up with a couple of our riders. So more to come there. We're wishing them all the best as they're getting into really like the monumental months of training as we're getting closer to the makeover each
final
week.
Third. We're getting there.
How I feel like we just talked to them is what it is. And then we introduce you to a new face at New Vocation. So you'll meet Amanda. She's fabulous. Can't wait. And I am obsessed with the horse we're going to talk to. But lots to come. I gave you a sneak preview. Stay tuned. But before we get into all that, we're going to hear from Kentucky Performance Products.
This nutritional minute is brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products. Electrolytes. Who needs them? Your horse, that's who. Electrolytes perform critical functions within your horse's body. They help regulate nerve and muscle functions by carrying electrical impulses between cells. In addition, electrolytes assist the body in maintaining a healthy fluid balance by controlling your horse's desire to drink. When your horse loses significant amounts of electrolytes and fluids, problems such as dehydration, muscle cramping, fatigue, tying up, and colic may occur. Even in mild forms, these conditions can have a negative impact on your horse's ability to perform and recover after exercise. Horses that are ridden regularly or those that live in hot, humid climates may lose more electrolytes than their bodies are capable of replacing with a normal diet. In these instances, it is necessary to replenish lost electrolytes and keep your horse drinking. Summer Games Electrolyte replenishes the electrolytes and trace minerals lost when your horse sweats, and it stimulates the thirst response so your horse continues to drink and stay properly hydrated. Summer Games was developed for the 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta. Trust Summer Games Electrolyte to protect your horse when the going gets hot. To learn more, visit kppusa.com. Got questions about your feeding program? We can help. Email Karen at questions@kppusa.com or call us at 859-873-2974.
Well, Joy, we have with us today Dr. Cory Kieschnick from DelVal University, which I say that because I grew up in southeastern Pennsylvania. The full name is Delaware Valley University, so we want to give it the respect that it's due. But I know everyone in the area always just called it DelVal, and I think Dr. Kieschnick will as well. So, Cory, welcome to the show. We're excited to learn more about your program.
Thanks so much. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, this is cool. So I looked at DelVal when I was looking. I did it again. I looked at Delaware Valley University. Can we just call it DelVal?
Yeah,
forward?
we call it
All right.
DelVal. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Okay.
That's what we call it.
I did look at that in my college search way back in 2005, I think.
Okay.
Which
Yeah.
feels like a million years ago now. But I did grow up in southeastern Pennsylvania, so it was on my, college list being an equestrian program close to home, and it ended up being a little closer to home than I wanted. So I ended up going a little further away, but I really liked the program when I looked at it. And one thing that I thought was really unique is that, you guys have a Standardbred program, which at the time to me, I was like, this is so novel. Like, this is amazing. So can you tell us a little bit more about the Standardbred program specifically, but, in general, everything that DelVal is covering in that equine program?
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing, because it's Delaware Valley University, people automatically think we're in Delaware. So I'm glad you grew up in PA. It's actually in the Delaware Valley, and we're in Pennsylvania.
I never thought about that. I guess that is confusing to anyone not from that region. But I was like, of course, Delaware Valley. Yeah, it's in the Delaware Valley.
Yeah, so we're north of Philly in Bucks County. We have degree offerings in equine management and equine science. And the cool thing about us, one of our big differentiators, is that we have 2 equine facilities right on campus, just a short walk down from the residence halls. The students can leave their dorm room in their pajama pants and be down at the barn in, 5 minutes. So that's a big differentiator for us, for sure. We have degrees in equine science, and those are our specializations are in equine breeding and in pre-professional. So those are mostly our pre-vet students. Also, some students who are headed to grad school as well will be in that specialization. But the breeding program is pretty special. So we have foals every spring, which is great because we have a lot of prospective students coming to see campus, and there's nobody who doesn't like horse babies, right?
Oh my God, yeah, that's the dream.
Yeah, exactly. So DelVal was founded with a mission of hands-on learning, or back in 1896, it was called Science with Practice. So it was pretty cutting edge back then. So everything that we do has a hands-on component. It's integral in the curriculum. And so it's cool that we have this whole herd of breeding horses right on campus. And currently we're standing 4 stallions. We have a herd of brood mares. We have the foals, obviously, are born on property. And then also we keep them until they're yearlings. And the Standardbreds go to the sale in Harrisburg every November. And the students are involved in every piece of that. They help to collect the stallions. They help to inseminate the mares. They're there for all of the preg checks. They're there when the foals are born. And then we have a class called Yearling Horse Sale Management, and they help to get the yearlings to the sale, and they're there when they sell too. So it's pretty cool.
That's really cool. Like, I can't think of another program that's like that level of immersion, and now I'm like, oh, now I regret all my school choices. I should have gone to DelVal. What was I thinking? Like, because obviously when you're 17, 18, you don't know the direction your life is going to take. But I was like, oh, that would have been a really cool inroad into the racing industry, where it feels like most people have to go to Kentucky to get that kind of sale experience in particular, which is, a huge economic driver in thoroughbreds. That's really neat that, that you have that Standardbred program. And of course, right on campus like that. So, so why Standardbreds? How did you land on that particular breed?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And I really was doing a little bit of digging, like, why Standardbreds? We had a professor who probably came in the 70s or 80s, and his name was Fred Hofsis. And I know the story about how he took a bunch of students to the Goshen sale first and went to just sort of check it out. And then he said, I think we should be more involved in this. And then it kind of grew from there. And I think that his background was in Standardbreds. I always say to people, because, we also have an equestrian center on campus that's filled with any and all breeds of our school horses. So not only do we have this breeding program on campus, but we're also riding the horses as well. And so I say to people who are a little bit less familiar with Standardbreds, well, the great thing about them is they're well-bred. Our breeding center manager, Jenna Regal, does a great job with bloodlines. They're very well-bred. They sell for good money and they go to good homes. We go with a trailer full in November and then they sell and they don't come back. So then we can start the ball rolling again. And that's important so that we can keep that program going, right? Because we have to sort of empty the barn so that we can fill it again on an annual basis.
That's fascinating. I never thought, do you consider that like a significant source of revenue for the program too? Like it never occurred to me to fund the program that way.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it sure is. It's sort of a self-funding program, which is great. And some years we have enough revenue that we can make some pretty big improvements to the facility. Years back, we upgraded to a hydraulic phantom. We upgraded to a non-slip floor in the breeding shed. We've done some pretty big improvements based off of the revenue from the sales.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I worked for a few years. I went to Alfred University and then worked there for another 4 years in their equestrian program. And funding was always a bit of a battle, because you had to kind of negotiate for your funding with the rest of the college, and you're trying to justify we need to pay for joint injections for the horses and new saddles and this and that and a trailer and a truck. And it's having a program like this, that can kind of bring revenue in and keep itself going. That's super novel and genius, frankly.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
And how did the students feel too, knowing that they were a part of that production? I'm sure that makes the program even more meaningful for them.
Yeah, they love the horses. And I think that being there through the whole process, we have a class called our Advanced Equine Reproduction class. And with that class, a pair of students is assigned to a mare, and they may be assigned to 2 mares. They will then be responsible for checking her to see when we should go on full watch, obviously under the direction of our breeding center manager and our consulting veterinarian. But because they're there then sleeping in the barn when they're on full watch and they're there when the foal is born, they also do get to name the foal, which is pretty special. And I'll tell you a little bit about our naming tradition in a second. But I think that through that whole process, they really grow to love and appreciate these brood mares for the wonderful creatures that they are. And then, of course, it's like their child. This foal is they just love them. And they're sad at the sale, right? They get sad, but they're also just so proud. So they really develop close relationships with the horses. And that's all of the horses. We'll have anywhere from 75 to 90 horses on campus at any given moment. And that's with our breeding herd and our school horse herd combined. And these are their horses. I mean, these students feel very at home at both equine facilities, and they really grow to appreciate and love the whole herd in its entirety. And then they develop these special relationships. I mean, you all know, right? I mean, it's hard not to develop these special relationships with certain horses as well.
I also like, though, that because the course is geared towards, production for sale, that's, kind of made to be a reality of it too. I think if you, it's the same, similar, I don't want to compare it, apples to oranges, but we have a family cattle farm and everyone's like, oh, don't you get attached? Isn't it hard to sell those calves or those steers? And I'm like, well, that's what we're raising them for, right? It's not like I raise them as pets and then someone is coming to take them away from me. It's
that's
a little,
right.
And I would imagine it's, a similar thing. The students understand, this is the industry and this is the course that you're in, and this is the natural progression, of this life. So
yeah, absolutely. And we to touch on that quite a bit too. We have an equine business management class. And in those classes, we talk about looking at it from the perspective of this is my hobby versus this is a business. And those are really different perspectives. And it's okay if you have the perspective of this is my hobby. That's going to be that's really different, right? When your horse has an injury, maybe the depths of your pockets for specific things or the way that you would look at it. I mean, you may have a forever horse that you would never ever sell in a million years, but that's you looking at it from your personal standpoint or from your hobby, right? Versus your job.
Right, for sure. And I think that's something important for people to understand. We're really going to cover a lot of ground here because this is, I think, such an important mindset to be in about the racing industries when these horses move into aftercare. People are like, all these racing owners, they should really be that forever home. And that is not necessarily, that's not even realistic for all of us as hobby owners either. Life circumstances change and horses are big and expensive. And there may come a time where you need to part with one. So, both for the business side and the hobby side, I think that's the unfortunate reality with horses is, they may not be forever horses for everybody, but
right.
Yeah, I think that's an important truth in aftercare too, that
yeah, for sure.
It's the responsibility of all of us together, but not any one party, from that horse's past. So
yeah, agree.
Wow, we started just talking about a standardbred program, and now we're hitting on all
we're
the
getting
truth bombs.
really deep.
Yeah, look at us
really
go.
deep in the field.
Well, let me roll back and tell you about our naming theme because I think you're going to like
yes, I do want to hear about that.
Okay, so in the advanced equine reproduction class, the class votes on a naming theme for each season, and then all of the foals are named with names under that theme. So this year's theme was trees. So we called the foals our saplings. So this year, some of the names we had an oak, we had a Fraser fir, we had a Douglas fir, we had a willow. So those are the names with that. Oh, in the past we've had, let's see, we had Olympic cities. So we had a Lillehammer, we had Berlin, we had an Athens. So there are all sorts of different themes that they come up with and then they vote on them. And I have to say that this year, I really never pull my weight. I never say, this is what we're going to do. I'm the department chair and I'm pulling rank here. And I tried very hard to get them to do Taylor Swift themed names this year.
Oh, man. Yeah, this was the year for sure.
This is our year. It's for the public. And they were like, nah, we're going to do trees.
What? What college? Oh, my gosh.
You do not have Swifties in your
students of DelVal. Come on.
I know. And I'm telling you that I will never let them live it down. I mention it every time I see anyone who was in the advanced equine repro class.
Yeah,
Well, you can do
because
Sabrina Carpenter next year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see who the next big star
Right.
is. And be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. And one thing that we've done with these foals is we have a partnership. This is our second year that we've done it with the Pennsylvania Horse Racing Association, where we have foal cams in the stalls. So we have
that's cool.
a couple of stalls which have cameras so we can live stream the births. So then it's on the web. You can go to the PA Horse Racing website and you can watch our mares give birth, which is like a really unique opportunity for people who wouldn't otherwise have that experience.
yeah, what an educational, opportunity to give to people. I knew I had a friend through the Thoroughbred Makeover who I think was participating on the Thoroughbred side in that last year and was very excited. Yeah, that's a cool program. Oh, awesome. This is really cool. So do you have like particular like success stories? I mean, obviously they're all successful if they're born happy, healthy, and go on to the sale and hit the track. But do you have any like particular notable graduates, like both horse and human, that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so right now we're standing roll with Joe. He's a world champion pacing stallion with around 1.8 million in earnings, and he has 2 millionaire offspring.
Wow.
So we're standing him for the first year actually in Pennsylvania. And we're standing Hey Chubb on the thoroughbred side for his last few years. So although he has quite a few of his progeny are pretty successful in thoroughbred racing, his daughter Chubb Wagon was very successful. So that was cool too, because not only were we standing these standardbred stallions, but we also had this successful thoroughbred stallion who was standing as well. So the students were exposed to AI and live covered, which is good for them, because a lot of these the breeding specialization students who are learning in the breeding center, they are going out into the breeding industry and they're quite successful. And what the employers are saying about not just our breeding students, but all of them, because of our experiential learning program that's embedded in our academic curriculum, 100% of our students are graduating with real world experience. So they're having internships, career exploration opportunities. They're doing study abroad. They're doing things out in the industry. And because of that, the feedback that we're getting is they really can do things. They don't just know things, but they have the hands-on experience to sort of jump in. And maybe they're not doing things exactly the way that this new farm wants them to do it. But because they have that background, they're teachable, they're adaptable, they're efficient, they're hard workers. And those are all great things in an employee for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's so cool. I knew a friend in high school, I think, ended up going on to DelVal, and then she became broodmare manager at Cobra Farm in Kentucky for a while. And I was like, dang, like that's quite the trajectory, to like graduate and like boom, right into the thoroughbred industry at like a very high-end farm. Like that was really cool to see. So
we have a couple of Chemi graduates, so people who have gone down to Kentucky with the Chemi program, and one is currently an assistant manager at Erdenheim Farm. We have another one who's successfully working in Kentucky at a large breeding operation. We have one of our recent grads is an instructor and works on programming for Work to Ride in Philadelphia. We have a 5-star eventer groom. We've got one who works for an FEI level carriage driver and travels internationally. We've got a lot of veterinarians, a lot of equine veterinarians. We've got some techs at New Bolton Center. We've got somebody working at Johnson and Wales. So they're really doing all sorts of different things. And, we love to hear from them, and they really do a good job staying in touch with us, which, we love because we build really strong relationships with them over the 4 years at DelVal. It's such a community, our DelVal equine community. And we hang out together a lot. The class sizes are relatively small, so we develop these relationships with them. And so it's really nice then after they graduate that they are staying connected.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a just a neat program all in all. Now we kind of like, we skipped I was so excited to learn about the Standardbred program. We just dove right in. But what is your equine background and like, what was your career trajectory that brought you to DelVal?
I'm actually from East Tennessee. So I've been up here in Pennsylvania since 2001. Before I got here, I trained, rode, and taught. And then I found this job opening actually at DelVal in 2001. I came up in the summer, so it was not cold. That's important. And I really fell in love with the campus. I fell in love with the program, and I've been here ever since. So my kids were born here. They're natives of Eastern PA, which is kind of crazy to me because I was born and raised in Tennessee.
Listen, there are worse places to grow up as also in native Eastern Pennsylvania.
Yeah. It's really, it really is a wonderful area, and it's so horse dense. And I have 0 horse children. They are just, I really held out hope for my last one. I thought that I was going to keep her in it. She learned to ride. They all learned to ride. And then they were like, nah, that's okay. And I didn't push it. And the last one, I was like, are you sure? Do you want a pony? I'll just get you a pony. Do you want a pony? Yeah, that's okay, she said. I was like, darn it.
The good news is it sounds like you have quite a legacy forming with, the DelVal alums and the program and everything that you're nurturing. So I think you're in good shape there.
I call them my big kids versus my little kids at home. Yeah, for sure. That. So I'm glad I do have a lot of horse crazy kids at work.
So good. So Cory, where should people go if they want to learn more about you or more about DelVal's program?
They can find us. We're very active on Instagram and Facebook, and we do have a TikTok as well. And that's at DelVal, DelVal Equine. Our website is delval.edu/equine. So it's pretty easy to find us. And if they want to see any of our saplings from this season, they can check out the Instagram and go through and see them all. They're all there. Very cute.
The saplings. I love it. I'm going to go look and fall in love and then eagerly see what they do at the sales too. I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, very cool. Well, Cory, thank you so much for coming on and sharing some more about this unique program. And hopefully this has sparked some interest. If we have any rising high school graduates looking up, keep DelVal on your list and let them know that Joy and Kristen sent you.
Thanks for having me.
Cashel has been crafting top-notch products since 1986, designed to make your ride safer, more convenient, and downright enjoyable. From the Crusader Fly Mask, the ultimate fly mask, trusted by riders nationwide, to the blanket top performance felt pad with pressed felt with merino fleece. It's like a spa day for your horse's back. To the beautiful beaded halters, adjustable, durable, and gorgeous. Visit CashelCompany.com today and gear up for the ride of a lifetime. Cashel, where quality meets the saddle.
As horse owners, we spend a lot of time on the road. Let US Rider help keep you covered. Our equestrian motor plan offers fast, reliable, nationwide service from our highly trained roadside assistance team. 24/7 coverage for both you and your horse. Membership includes horse trailer servicing, towing, flat tire repair, even on dual wheels, battery assistance, and lockout service on any vehicle in your plan. We also have your equine companions covered with referrals for emergency vet services, farrier referrals, and emergency stabling assistance. Get peace of mind on the road for you and your horse. Join US Rider today.
Well, I'm super excited for today's guest from New Vocations because it's another new face. We have Amanda Vance, who sits at the New York location for New Vocations, and she's coming on to talk some thoroughbreds with us. Welcome to the show, Amanda.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you. So tell us a little bit before we dive into the horses. if you can tell us a little bit about New Vocation's New York facility.
Well, the New Vocation's New York facility is unique because not only do we have thoroughbreds here, but we also have standardbreds here. We are currently the only facility that is rehabbing, retraining, and rehoming both breeds of retired racehorses.
I love that. I also love, I have to say, the iconic place where you guys take all your photos. Like every time I see one, I'm like, oh, that's a New York New Vocations.
Yes.
Oh, in the driveway?
Yeah, there's something like very classy about the combination of like fence, house, driveway. And I'm like, choice. So well done.
Thank you. Thank you. That house wasn't always there. So if you go back a few years, it was just a hayfield. And then somebody built a house over there around the hayfield. So
that's funny. As though someone can be like, oh, I have a vintage behind the scenes horse. Yeah. I just assumed it was like y'all's house, so that's funny.
Yeah.
No, my house is to the left in the photos. Actually, we try and cut it out.
Okay.
Now I am a New Yorker, and I had to Google where Gansevoort is. That's a very Dutch name. You're like in the Dutch part of New York, like way upstate, right?
We are upstate. We're about 10 or 15 minutes from both Saratoga flat track and harness track.
Oh, perfect. Dream location.
Yeah, so we're right by a track. It's like super convenient.
Nice. You are 1 hour closer to me than the Lexington facility. So that is, if anyone's like wondering how big New York is, that's how big New York is. That I can I can get to the Lexington facility in just under 7 hours, and I can get to you in just under 6 hours. So
all right.
Still sounds like a field trip, Kristen. Just saying.
Yeah, no, yeah, totally. Like, you that's what I'm saying. Like, Amanda, just be prepared. I'm going to show up.
Yes. It sounds like Chris and I are
come over anytime. Come visit.
I love it. And how long have you been with New Vocations, Amanda?
I initially started doing rehabs for New Vocations, I think in 2017. And then when our old New York trainer moved to the Kentucky facility, she passed the reins to the training side of things as well to me.
Awesome. And how long have you been with thoroughbreds?
Forever and ever. I grew up when the thoroughbred was the classic show hunter, where if you were riding a warm blood, you were kind of, on the outs, and then of course there was the shift. But so for a long time, I have always admired the thoroughbred's versatility and athleticism. So it just feels right to be doing this.
Amazing. So listen, listeners, we have an expert in the room with us. I'm very excited for it. I always love getting to know different people from New Vocations because you all have your own perspectives, but all care about the same thing. And I'm hoping we're going to give you your first training questions that bring some good tips to our listeners. I'm curious, what are your tips and tricks for the unbalanced young horse, or maybe the horse coming back into work after rehab, where they don't quite know where their legs are and they might have some lack of confidence? So they do some quirky things. How can a rider stay balanced and help their horse find confidence?
Well, we often hear our team talks about these young horses and how are we going to get them a little more balanced and highlight them in videos. We work off the rail. So we're on a circle, making a serpentine. We're trying to support that horse without the wall or the rail there, and, asking them to bend around a leg and trying. And even if it's just a moment or two, kind of celebrating those moments and hoping that they turn into, more moments and more. We work on a lot of transitions, trying to keep our horses underneath us and things of that nature. And keeping in mind that these were professionals at their previous job. So they were good at their old job. They knew it well. They knew how to be a racehorse, but they didn't have to work in an indoor or a smaller arena that we're all accustomed to riding in generally when we first start these guys. So we are constantly trying to figure out how to build that bridge between what they know and what we need them to know in order to be successful in their next race. So what we work a lot off the rail, do a lot of transitions. We do try and get the horses out of the arena as well. which helps them gain a lot of confidence.
I
love that. That makes me think of when like I was a kid and my trainer was first letting me like ride other horses on the weekends, like just as a she was doing me a favor and I was doing her a favor by working horses. And she was like, okay, you're going to do a circle in every corner of the arena. And I was like,
yes.
What? You know, because at the time you were still a lesson kid that was just going in circles on the rail. And it was so like eye opening. And it makes so much more sense now looking back, like, oh yeah, that was a green horse that needed that, you know, and I was a happy-go-lucky kid who could just trot circles in the corners for hours. So it worked. Yeah. It was a win-win.
That's definitely interesting because I think a lot of times riders will try to use the rail and as like, oh, if you stay here, you'll feel confident and you'll feel fine. The moment you go into the circle, they're like, the horses get quick or they stop or they're like falling in, falling out, and riders get discouraged. So it's kind of like just bite the bullet and do it in increments in that circle.
Exactly.
Like roller skating.
A lot of times on those circles.
Yes.
Like, and roller skating where they make you go to the middle when you can't stand up for some reason. And you want to just cling desperately to the wall and they don't let you do that. This is why I don't roller skate, among many other reasons.
Yes,
it's very much a trust the process situation when you're not familiar, but I'm a huge fan of it. Sometimes I'm like, throw me in the delusion. I'm going to like do so much better if I'm constantly in Delulu. So I'm here for it. Well, speaking of young horses, I would love to introduce our adoptable horse of the week. Tell us about Nigeria.
So Nigeria is been with us since the very end of January, beginning of February. And she is actually that sort of long-legged, unbalanced horse right now. Every ride, she just gets better and better and better. She is really easy to have in the barn. She's this big bay mare that she's a love. I can't say enough great things about, and she's so easygoing to have in the barn too. She gets turned out with some ponies that are residents here at my facility, and she loves her pony pals. She only raced one time. She actually won that race. She should be really great for a mid-level type career. We've actually started her over a couple of jumps just to see if it was something that she might like to do. And she trotted right up to a cross rail and jumped it. There's a video of it actually on our website. That was her very first time seeing a jump, and she trotted in and cantered out and did a little lead change. So she's just been a really cool horse to have in the barn, and we can't believe she's still here.
She's 100% my type of mare. She's very like hypey, but not in a way that makes her small. Like she just looks classic feminine, and she's
very elegant looking. Yes.
You need a bay too. You know, she's like that lovely, like classic thoroughbred bay. So you need something to balance out your chestnut. Yeah.
I know. The like bright metallic chestnut and have something that's still flashy, but like just kind of ties it all together, the bay and the chestnut. And what I like most about her is even though she's leggy, like she's a good size. She's 16'2", like she's young. Yep. She's going to fill out really nicely. You can tell.
And I think she's going to get taller too.
Yeah, she's a little bit high in these videos I'm watching, which is not a bad thing.
Yes. Oh, she's only 3. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's only 3. Yeah.
Maturing going on. Yeah.
But for a 3-year-old, like you can tell her brain is in the right place. Like she looks so easy in the video. She loves working. You can tell like she's your ideal ride. And I think like an amateur working with a trainer or someone who's looking for their next
she would
show
be perfect
horse.
For that. Yeah, absolutely.
So
she's an easygoing type.
She looks like it. And like what I really like is just how calm her whole demeanor is. Like everything she's doing in the videos, she's like, what's the question? Okay, I got it.
Yes, she tries so hard. So she also hadn't been in the outdoor. So she just kind of marched right out. No big deal. Was like, just takes everything in stride. New place, doesn't matter.
That's like what you want ideally. And all listeners know I am team mare all the way. Like, yes, they might take a moment to like test you, get to know you. And like, why wouldn't you? Like, you're going to do the same thing with any new person you meet too.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, once they bond with you, like, oh, they go through fire for you at the end of the day.
That is so true. And I have a lot of mares right now. So those team mare adopters should get in contact with me.
I love it. Well, the first thing they need to do is put in their applications at newvocations.org. Right now, you're doing a summer special too, where it's 50% off, correct?
Yes. And you're getting a steal. These horses they're being ridden in new environments. They're exposed to so many things, especially like my facility. We have a large lesson program here. So you can trust that your adopted horse has had a child, running up and down the barn aisleway, even though they're not supposed to, that a dog has popped around the corner while the horse is being ridden, that a pony has come out of nowhere, and tried to scare them. So they're exposed to a lot here.
They are second career broke.
Yes.
Yes. You're getting a horse that has, veterinary records. You're getting so much for such a small fee, especially with this sale going on.
Amazing. So she was normally $2,500 for now. She's $1,250, y'all. $1,250 gets you this really lovely mare who's ready for her next career. And how long is the special going for?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I have to look that up. Is that terrible?
No, it's going until we say it doesn't. So this is your time to get your applications in, everybody.
Yeah.
So check it out, horseadoption.com or newvocations.org. Amanda, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And if anyone has questions or wants to see what horse might be a good fit, reach out to the New Vocations team. They will find one for you.
You can find our show notes and links to today's guests on the website at horseradionetwork.com. Like us on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for Retired Racehorse Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. You can find me on Instagram at The Horseback Writer and on Facebook at Jobber Bill, Racehorse to Ranch Horse. My email is kristen@horseradionetwork.com.
You can find me on Instagram at Misfit Mare, and my email is joy@horseradionetwork.com. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Kentucky Performance Products, Cashel Company, and Equestrian Plus, and to our partners, New Vocations Racehorse Adoption Program and the Retired Racehorse Project. Don't forget to check out all the other shows on the Horse Radio Network, part of Equine Network, at horseradionetwork.com. Remember to set your goals high and love to learn from every ride.
And add more leg.
Bye, guys.